All right, everybody. What are you doing? Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's episode 7, Tourniquets and Training. Oh my! Tonight's guest is supposed to be Chip Eberhart. So far, I have not heard from Chip yet. We're hoping we hear from him here shortly. But in the meantime, joining me as always, my cohort Eric at Nag Industries, and my other cohort Eric Galloway. Gentlemen, good evening.
Gentlemen. Hey, and
Gentlemen and scholars.
I want to start off by saying that I use that term loosely because, Eric's in California and they're getting ready to lock up again. So he's going to be wearing underwear on his head here shortly.
No, my test fire tube's just not going to be a test fire tube anymore.
That's my boy.
What was that? Not a mortar. I promise you that. But anyhow, while we wait to see if we hear from Chip, we will still go on with the show. So let's go ahead and start with, just because we have to, CZ Master Race for the win. We'll just go ahead and throw that in the beginning this time. All right. So just because I keep seeing one on Arms List that'll eventually drop to a price where I can barter with the guy, because he's got it at a desperate price with everything going on right now, and it's a CZ75 compact, the PDRC, and I'm like, ooh, but he's like $725. I'm like, oh, no one's buying that thing.
Let's talk about that real quick, though. Do you think this is going to go back down? I'm seeing Glocks selling for $1,000.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it really depends on where you're at, because around here, no, he's never going to get that, because nobody around here, except for a few of us, are even into CZs. And we know that while it is rare CZ, it's not that rare that it's, almost $300 more than what you can get it for retail.
I think it's going to take a while for prices to come back down this time, just because production is so stunted with everything that's happening.
Well, it caught everybody flat-footed completely. We were in a lull. The whole industry was, because, buying was down for the most part. And it was because people had the misconception, well, there's a Republican in office, and we've gone over that before in other podcasts, where that's when most of the legislation that's anti-second is passed. But people got lulled into a sense of it's okay, and then everything just hit the feces hit the oscillator, as it says in nice terms.
Yeah,
and people realized they had to defend themselves.
You've got a whole new generation of gun buyers, and you've got people that didn't own guns before, that they were evil, that bought this time too. So you had two huge groups that just sucked all the inventory out of the market, and then on top of that, you've got all these factories shut down, so they're not replenishing that stock.
So let's talk about that. And they're a very close company, friend of ours, that all they do is ammo, and they have at least 2 warehouses, and they're responsible for a lot of ammo. They've been responsible for ammo since like the 1970s. One, it got so bad on their webpage to try to control their inventory, they were selling 9mm at $500 a case. It was gone in 10 hours. And they officially don't have a single bullet left on the shelf.
Isn't that crazy?
And they work with some major manufacturers. They're not small fish. They're there. So it's just crazy to me.
It makes you wonder, though. It's like me and Brandon were talking in a shop the other day. It's like, you figure we turn through 250,000 rounds a year at the shop, test firing, training, customer guns, that sort of thing. And it's like, that's a
kind estimate.
Yeah, but we're a part of the industry in that sense, that we're doing it for products.
Yeah.
And it's like the average user may use maybe 10,000 if they shoot a lot, right? I think that's kind of generous for a lot of folks. We have some folks that may shoot 100 rounds a year.
Carl's a good example of that. Carl Mumpower is a good customer of ours, and he shoots a lot, but he probably doesn't shoot more than 6,000-7,000 rounds a year, and it's all training, because he trains a lot.
Yeah,
but
So, like, what about? And here's some of the things. I mean, heck, I'll even show you. Like, this is what I got
One of
with
us is
ammo in our shop. Is those boxes. And
Yeah.
my thing here is like, I still got to test fire ammo for customers. So I'm like, does my test firing go from 1 meg to 3 rounds now? Do I charge more for the ammo because it's going to cost me more?
Right.
Like, does your price? It's just crazy right now.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're packing up. Well, one, we got a new hire in the shop, Chris, who is I'm gonna bring him on one night just because you and me are gonna ride him with a fucking saddle, dude. He's named. All right, so he's U.S.
He's not my brother. I'm just letting you know right now.
Your brother is sitting in there playing Xbox right now. So,
But he's U.S. Naval Reserve, active reserve, so he's still in the reserve. Goes and does the thing once a month, to whatever. I forget. It's different for the reserve than it is the guard. But he's actually he cracks me up. He's a pretty cool kid, and I say kid because he's younger than you, Junior.
I know, right?
Hey, Joe.
Joe.
Hey, check this out.
Hey, you shaved. Look at that.
No, I didn't. I just braided it. See?
Nah.
Oh, I know why you had him put it like that, Eric. Good job.
Yeah.
Got a buffalo. Punch that cougar. My shirt came in. I was like, I gotta have like some sort of thing for the rest of the year because, dude, the news is just terrible anymore. Everybody avoids it, but we can't get away from it. And then so we enjoy this. It's fun. So let's keep it that way. So punch that cougar in the face.
I told Chris, I said, you're going to have to be on the program because people want to see who makes their parts. And I said, you'll have a good time. We were quite entertaining. But I didn't even think about that. You know, he is younger than Junior. Junior like, yay, I'm not the little guy anymore.
I know, right? Like maybe he's upset because he just got up and left.
We finally made him mad.
Oh man, it would appear we're just almost 10 minutes in, so I guess Joe's gonna be our Joe come be our special guest.
All right,
I don't think Chip's gonna make it.
I think we need to know who's just off camera of you, Eric.
You got sucked in again, didn't you, Liz?
You're sneaking in on us. Now I feel better. I feel like we're being eavesdropped on.
I think Junior's being graded by Lewis because he's like, sitting over there like, I bet he's got a stick wrapped in a glorious blue cord. Pokes you really hard in the damn ribs every time you screw up. I'm just giving you ideas, Lewis. I know you can hear me. All right. So along with the whole training aspect, you know, we know ammo is about impossible to come by, so people are starting to switch calibers. And one of the guys that a lot of people know in the social media realm, TatCat, we all know he works for Brownells. He works at the Bureau of Propaganda, as he puts it, at Brownells. But he made a valid point. He's like, are you going to see 357 SIG and similar calibers maybe make a comeback now? Because that stuff is stocked everywhere. 22 TCM, dude. If I had the money to, well, if you could find it, right? Good old revolvers, man. That's a good case in point. You're a semi-auto guy, but you're getting into revolvers as a backup carry and easy carry during the summer. But now that stuff's even getting hard to find on the shelves. And it's you're starting to see like the 10 mil, the 357 SIG, the oddball stuff that everybody's always been 40, not so much. Everybody still hates 40. Everybody's like,
That's the one thing you can still find, and it cracks me up. I'm like, yeah, I got 40 over here.
oh yeah, which is good because we finally found.
There you go, right?
Finally
picked up 40
that Eric wanted. The only thing was it was in 40 instead of 9, but it was a smoking deal you couldn't pass up. It was almost $150 less than dealer cost. It was the EMP 3-inch with the non-carry EDC grip because it's the officer size, so it's the shorter grip already. But it was a $6.99. I think after shipping, it was like
$736.
Yeah. Like, dude,
Yeah,
you're not getting an EMP for that price ever again, and it's because it's imported and it didn't sell. But here's the thing. I'm willing to bet if I bug Springfield enough, they'll sell me a 9mm barrel.
Hey, we have credentials with them. It's like, look, we have the armor certificate. See, we're worth something.
That's right. We need this 9mm barrel.
You guys certified us. It says right here.
Those certificates can be dangerous sometimes.
They really can. Like they probably are tired of me asking like once every 2 years, hey, when are you guys going to make a threaded barrel for the EMP4? And they're like, never. I'm like, oh, I'll wear you down.
They finally just stopped responding to us. We were like, we need a Hellcat for testing. 2 of them. And they're like, we're totally get you one. And that was like a year ago at this point. They're just like, they just don't respond.
And then there's a guy, we keep finding him on arms list. And then I think people get bombarded with so many offers that they realize what they have and they just stop responding to anybody and hold on to it. And so it's been hard to come by. I would love to make parts for it, but what are you going to do?
So on the whole training thing, and let's just talk about PDs. I mean, we probably had close to, at the bare minimum, $300,000 out there in quotes this year for police departments that we work with. July 1st is supposed to be Armageddon for me. Like, everybody's calling in, our budgets are released. And you want to hear the most horrifying noise you've ever heard is birds chirping in the background when they're told they can't spend their money this year.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
And thank God gunsmithing's been booming. Oak Tree's been super solid to us, and we've been solid to them. But laser shot, we have been noticing that ranges are running out of ammo. And so there's been some ranges looking at these virtual simulators, because they can still run air, so the pistol still recoils. They can put the Vorak kits inside the pistols, so you get full recoil, you get everything except the projectile. Even you can do 3-gun competitions, all these different things. Customer still gets to train.
Exactly.
The projectile, but at least you still get to train because there's no ammo.
Yeah, and I think
it's super versatile if you think about it. That's a great way to get into it and get the trigger time you needed and still get something back other than the click from the
dry fire, because dry fire is maintainable, very maintainable. Pew 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 channel proves that the way the dude shoots, it's like he's got magnetic bullets, but he's also a very, very disciplined person by nature too, and especially with what he does as a trauma nurse, he's got to be disciplined. So I think he's able to use it in a different way, because to a lot of people it's boring, and I get it, it can be, but I've shot similar systems, not the true shot, but one Junior knows, we had him in the military. Can't go to the range. Yeah, guess what? You're going in here. And you're going to shoot it.
Somehow I scored 100 on those ones.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, you're like, oh, man, look at that. We qualled. Oh, you're not going to count it. Oh, that sucks. But, I mean, it was a decent tool because, at least it gave the feedback of the machine guns. It gave the feedback of the M16, the M4 variants. And these systems give the feedback of the pistols, the shotguns, and the ARs that they're set up to use. And it's a great training tool that is very interactive and they're real fun to play with. Bear Arms in Brevard had one for a time, an old one, very old, because it only had like 6 scenarios or something like that. And keep in mind,
it only had 2 guns too, the Glock 17 and a 226, I think.
Yeah. And it this is also, keep in mind, like a little over a decade ago too. So it was dated for even then, but it was really fun to play with. I'm not gonna lie, because your first time through, if you've never done the scenarios, it was really cool. After the first time, it was just kind of like, this isn't fun anymore. Because, then there's no surprise, there's no mixing it up. Whereas with what you do with laser shot and what you've got, you have multiple scenarios that change.
Oh, I mean, and not to get on a whole laser shot kick here, though. I mean, you have everything from shoot, don't shoot scenarios. I mean, that in itself is humongous because you don't even get that on the range.
Oh, yeah. No.
It's still a computer, it's still a screen. I get it. And like I tell everybody that when I go to a department, this is a tool. Use the tool how it's supposed to be used. You're going, gain your knowledge. You don't use that tool, it's just going to be a computer screen to you in a video game.
Yeah.
No, it's just pretty much. I mean, there's so many things. When we do one of our next ones, I'll actually have it up so people can see it.
Yeah, that'll be good because I think people will get to understand. Because not just from the department aspect, but from the civilian aspect, no shoot scenarios are a good thing to train because there's going to be times where, especially now, with as touchy as everybody is and the civil unrest across the country, there's going to be situations where you may pull your piece and shoot somebody and you're completely in the wrong and you don't realize it until it's too late. And there's no taking that back and you are going, you know what I'm saying? But there's also times where you should plainly shoot, and that's what it's good for showing.
And I'm saying this with the disclaimer before everything. Oh, damn, I think we're having an earthquake.
You maggot.
Do you need to hide under a table?
No, I'm going to keep looking in the eyes and ride through this. But
just remember, put a textbook over your neck. That'll totally save you.
But full on, I'm not a lawyer, no nothing. And this is Eric speaking, not even NAG Industries. I was always told, dead man tells no tales. I mean, and that sounds horrible, but with the way today's society is,
it's always better when there's only one story.
Yeah.
And and the thing of it is, some people will take that incorrectly and be like, "Oh, they're telling you how to get away with it." No, I'm just saying, look at how litigious we have become. Where you have criminals suing people when they fall through a roof of a house they were breaking into and broke their leg on their kitchen island, or so your fault for putting the kitchen island there. I'm sorry, what? You were breaking into my house. You fell through the skylight. What do you want me to do?
Should have left the door unlocked.
Sorry.
It's just ridiculous. Things you do to steal things. I mean, honestly, it's hard to make a living.
You just can't be a law-abiding criminal these days.
Mm-mm.
So let's go ahead and start and touch on tourniquets. All right. Now, this is a metric that some of us judge a lot of people by because you got to remember just a few short years ago, there was this thing that people called hardcore carry. Like before it was known like common knowledge, hey, no, it's not hardcore. You should, whether you carry a weapon or not, you should probably just carry a tourniquet on you because, auto accidents are up. If you live somewhere where there's, an inner city with a lot of gun violence and you're stuck living there, you should probably have one on you. If you're in a dangerous industrial job on an oil rig somewhere, you should have one on you. It's not just a war thing. It's an everyday useful item. And I don't think people realize that at first when they hear, here's a combat action tourniquet.
I have a cute one. It's in plastic. Wow, in my pocket.
Yeah. Do I got mine too?
You do. I am judging you right now.
No.
Why is it way over there?
Well, he has multiple. Look at it. Look at that. EMT ready. And, it's not just I plan on getting in a gunfight, I
plan on life happening.
I plan on life happening. Case in point.
And talking about life happening, I mean, this is just being prepared. Which way should it be when you're carrying it?
Yeah, that's right.
And longest time when I had them, and I used to have them, I'd have them like that until they're like, well, what are you going to do when you're under stress and you're trying to get
Pull
that
it
to
loose.
go? Yeah, it might be a thing.
Yeah.
Trying
Yeah.
to grab it with your teeth because the other arm's not working.
We had JD from Suarez come out and do a thing a couple years ago, and it was exactly the first thing because he purposely didn't mention it and closed it and had people who'd never missed with a cap before run the drill. Mm-hmm. And of course, if you sit there and do a timer, let's say you're shot and you'll know you won't feel. I'm not saying you're going to feel your femoral artery like sever and go away, but you'll feel it because you'll start to feel less and less of your leg. You'll know something's wrong. You get up high and cinch that bad boy. That's going to keep you alive. And the thing of it is that could happen
with anything, though.
With anything,
like a car accident.
Yeah, but car
accident. Motorcycles are everywhere, and they also end up under cars, including that part of everywhere. And it's like, it's amazing. I think that's the thing people need to understand. Like you said, it's not just for combat. It's if you're going to carry a gun every day, carry a knife, carry a flashlight, carry a tourniquet.
Yeah.
You know what I use every day? My knife, my flashlight. You know what I don't use every day? My tourniquet or my gun. But I have them with me. And when you do need a tourniquet, it's nice to have it, but it's even more important to understand how it works. Like you were saying, there's a right way and a wrong way to carry that. And that's a training thing. It goes back to training. It's equipment. You got to train with it.
Yep.
How do you carry this, though?
in a flask, hopefully that no one notices.
Lips pink.
Are you carrying it in the morning or in the evening?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. What is their behavior before, during, and after? I gotta let's get that first.
This is scenario training now, Sue.
This is 24 minutes instead of 24 hours. You got 24 minutes to find a toilet. But and it doesn't have to be let's say you use yours on yourself or somebody else, and you have more injured. Well, you've got a belt. Take the belt off, cinch all that you can, and then do like you would do anything else and start wrapping that thing until the bleeding stops.
And not even that, I remember Don teaching me one of his classes. Knees, elbows. If you're on top of something, it's not a tourniquet, but it's a starting point, right? Get pressure on it.
Pressure is the starting point for sure, because you need to lock it down as quick as you can, but sometimes you're gonna have to get something out of the way or get somebody clear of something if they're trapped under it or pinned under it, or maybe they've just had a really shitty day and ended up on their back in the middle of nowhere, and you're trying to get them oriented to get pressure on it so you get a tourniquet on it. Now, that's important. But I think about 10 years ago, I was in a training class for the first aid type stuff like this, trauma. And the guy that was teaching it was touchy-feely, typical downtown Asheville stuff. And he was like, there's nothing you can't fix by putting pressure on it, no matter how bad the injury. And I was like, I think that's not true. If they've lost a limb, you don't need to worry about pressure. You need to get a tourniquet on. Oh, no, tourniquet causes blood clots. I think they're going to die if you try to push the end of their limb. You know what I mean?
And we won't mention the company, but this was an industrial setting. Like this is a setting where it ain't, it mushed my toe. It's, everything from mid-thigh down is gone.
It's gone.
Just put them in the bathtub. They'll be okay.
Pressure.
Put them on ice, boys.
They're not stealing kidneys in Tijuana. They all
So one of the things too that I found interesting is a lot of the stuff is still the same as what it's always been for combat engagement, but one thing has changed at the multiple training events now. The one we had with JD from Suarez, one I came out to Bakersfield, and we did with you guys with My mind just went completely blank.
D-Day.
D-Day, thank you. I had Don's face in my head, and I couldn't think of his name or his company all of a sudden, because he's manly, man. He's a riot, though, because he is not what you would ever peg for an operator or anything else, because he's just your typical California surfer dude. He's hilarious.
This is where he would show up with a 2x4 and beat you because he was born and raised in Florida. Get it right.
Whatever. It's the same thing.
Manly man. That explains it. Florida man.
That's right. But anyhow, he made me lose my thought, because now I'm like, oh shit, Don lives near me too. I forgot. He could find me. But the tourniquet now, we no longer do 2 inches above or below a joint. You just go all the way up, cinch that
high and tight.
High and tight. You know, whereas before it was always 2 inches above or below, because the medical technology what back then was, yeah, you did get caught, you would lose that part of the limb. But now it's to the point where duct tape and super glue, I mean that does work as well, you know.
That's plan B, my friend. Plan B.
Plan B. And we don't mean the kind of tourniquet they were applying to the Antifa idiot that took the rubber bullet in Seattle. And have you seen that video going around?
You know what I want is the guy that was there in Seattle. The guy that was in charge, and he's crying on the stretcher. I want to do that for the intro when we do the next one. I want that just to be like a free of just that, and be like, this is what you have leading you. And then we can do the regular intro.
But Sharpies.
Yeah.
As goofy as it sounds, Sharpies can be useful in a lot of ways.
Can help as part of a tourniquet.
It can.
Can also mark date, time, everything else that you need to put on a tourniquet when you apply it. You
know, a cool little thing that somebody told me, I don't even remember. They said always write it on the forehead.
Yes.
If it is what it is, it sucks. It's the situation, but at least you know. I mean, if their head's gone, we don't need to worry about date and time, right?
Yeah,
no
that's
tourniquet.
True.
No tourniquet.
They probably don't need a tourniquet on their leg.
That's not going to help.
So it's just one of those things. That if it's right here, when they're on the helicopter, in the ambulance, whatever it may be, it's nowhere.
The EMT, the paramedic, it's right there universally. Yep. Everybody knows right on the forehead. It's universally there for every EMT, no matter where you are in the world or what walk of life, knows, okay, date, time, blood, you know, all that. That way they know, okay, because you mark the T, and if you got to do it, you use the blood.
Yeah.
Right? Just like
you're going to end up on there. That's the typical one that you end up using. Yeah. Sharpies are expensive, but blood's available if you're using a tourniquet, right? So.
At that point, it's free. All right.
Sir, you owe me $2.95 for using my Sharpie.
It's bloody. You keep it.
Someone took my Sharpie. I want my red Sharpie back. You've got my red Sharpie. Oh man. All right. So here's something that's going to be a little touchy after tourniquets, because I wanted to open with that because it have much more of a purpose than just, and you know, we probably have listeners that are first time gun owners and don't carry it, or just may not even carry it, maybe on the fence. At least carry that on it, because life happens, man. You could be out on your property cutting wood, chainsaw slips, bucks, anything. Boom, you just ripped your shin open. What do? You know, you're by yourself or something like that. So that also, though, leads us into the next part, because from a gunfight standpoint, if you are in the midst of having to defend yourself, stand up and go, training the mindset, because if you aren't ready to kill, all right, and this is not me going, you gotta be super manly. It is not a light decision to take a human life. It's not a light decision to take any life. I'm a lifelong hunter. I've sat in multiple stands watching multiple animals, and it's once you get used to shooting the animal, it's not a problem. But there's still times where you look at it and you're like, just give it one more year, let him go. And if you're not willing to understand that you may have to do that, then you shouldn't be carrying one, because you're going to use it at the wrong time instead of the right time. And
on that, even coming into a situation, this is my personal belief, it shouldn't be even going in like ready to kill, because maybe you can de-escalate the situation. Maybe showing up with a gun escalates it, but maybe coming in with a handshake and saying, hey, I'm not saying that's how it's going to go, but
yeah, no, I understand what you're getting at. Is your initial, unless there's an immediate threat to your life, someone is walking up, pointing a gun at your face, someone's got, one of your family members, knife, whatever, you don't need to go immediately to gun.
Yeah.
But you also need to be prepared that if you have to do that, or you have to go to blade, that it's going to be you or them.
Like I've said for years, you being in this industry, we hear it a lot. I know Eric hears it a lot, Brandon does, and it's something I've said for over a decade. When we deal with folks, we're trying to help them figure out how to get their equipment to work as well as they can for what they need it to do, what they expect to be doing with it. And the first thing out of their mouth is, well, every bullet has a lawyer attached to it. Right there, the mindset's wrong. And the mindset's wrong with that, because you're second guessing the thought of even having the gun on your person. At that point, you need to not have a gun with you, because at that point, it's a liability. It'll be taken from you by someone who doesn't care about the rules, because, well, I mean, people who are aggressive, they can read people really well, and they're going to see that fear, see that hesitation, see that denial, and they're going to take advantage of it. And you see cases like that all the time, where someone pulls a gun and gets beat to a pulp and a gun taken from them. And it's sad, because you're like, wow, would they have got their butt beaten so badly, or even beaten to death, if they hadn't presented a gun to start with, and then been seen as weak with it because they were second guessing that gun already. So that's the mindset. We tell them, I know the three of us have done it. You tell them, look, let's talk about mindset first. Let's talk about application. Do you need this? Are you willing to use it? How far are you willing to go with it? And that's important, because you've got to help people work through that. And if they can't work through that, hopefully you can help them recognize that carrying this gun is a liability to you and everyone around you at this point.
And, on that, going into the whole simulator thing and working with PDs and the shoot, don't shoot, it's escalation versus de-escalation. When we come to the situation, what are we doing? Sir, I apologize for what happened. You're being a little aggressive. And then, stopping, and he's coming at you, sir. Now you're visually showing, sir, see the goddamn gun right here?
Someone's getting ready to get drilled.
But it's those things of, it's not just coming and pulling the trigger. Now, situations, stand with it. Sometimes if you walk in the house, someone has a gun, you're going to do hopefully what you can. But as goofy as it sounds, being a concealed carry holder, you shouldn't be a superhero. That's not your job.
No, it's not your job.
What's going on?
You're not. That's law enforcement's job. And that's they have a separate set of rules, and they have a separate set of protections to keep them and take care of that you don't get as a private citizen. So that's that's mindset again. You're not Superman. That's perfect. You're not.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time that you're carrying a gun for your own protection and for the people that you are responsible for, not for the rest of the world. No. And it's like, it's not cold-hearted. That's honest. I didn't sign up to take care of these random folks. Yeah, I'm going to call the cops and help them out. Yeah, if I see a gang of people jumping on them, it's not my fight. I don't know what started this. I don't know what happened. And I know that sounds like cold, but it's not cold. That's logical.
You can
that's a responsibility.
Yep, and you can very quickly interject yourself into a situation where it's already somebody else defending themselves, and you're in turn shooting people who are dropping the bad guy. And I mean, it's It's one thing if you walk around a corner and you see some woman getting raped. Yeah, you're going to do something immediately. It's another thing if you walk around a corner and you see a group of people fighting. Hey, that ain't my problem. I
not
got
mine.
nothing to do with that. I'm going to call
Y'all sort that out.
Yeah. I'm going to call 911, let them know what happened. I mean, this happened. We talked about it on the last episode. Literally the day of the last episode, we were going to lunch and that dude was just obliterated. I don't know what was going on with him, what was in his mind, but he's out driving in the middle of lunchtime traffic and could have killed somebody. Yeah, you do the right thing.
A nice little town with a drinking problem.
Yeah, well, and a heroin problem. Who's to say
that too?
What?
Just downplay that one.
Let also go on the mindset, and this is, I had a thing happen with a family friend a couple weeks ago. It was around the 4th. Some people were drunk and some stuff was said, right? And this family friend came 3 days later and came and sends me all these belligerent text messages and like all these things. And I just kind of giggled because, Brandon, you'll understand this. Again, I'm not Superman, I'm not Billy Badass. I've had my ass kicked more than I've ever won fights. But that's the thing. I come into this knowing, but when people come to me, here's where my head goes, and talking about that mindset. I am going home or you're bleeding with me.
Yeah.
That's what the military teaches us to do. You come home no matter what it takes.
Yeah. Mission accomplished.
Like, so people are like, I'm going to come kick your ass. I'm like, dude, you really want to do this? You still may kick my ass, but it ain't going to be fun for you. It's not.
You're going to need stitches because I won't shoot you. The blade's going to come out. And it's going to chew your ass up. And I'm going to.
We need Pat on here. Pat's from the same part of the country I'm from, so it's one of those ones. I may carry this ass whooping, but you're gonna remember it. That's right. That's a Western North Carolina, Eastern Tennessee thing. I may carry this, but you're still gonna remember it.
Oh yeah.
And what's Mike Tyson saying? Facebook's made people too soft, not remember getting punched in the face or something like that.
Yeah, and it's true.
It's like people come text messages at you.
The best quote from Mike Tyson will always be, "Everybody's got a plan till they get punched in the face."
He's like, doing an exhibition fight with who was it? I saw it on Facebook the other day.
Yeah,
it's one of the other. It's not Evander yet, but him and Evander have actually been talking about doing a exhibition match, and I'm like, oh man, is he going to try and take the other ear?
He'll go out there in like the Mad Max mask. Bane. He'll look like Bane. It's like
he'll have
the shark. What would break first? Will your body or your mind?
And he'll have the Hannibal Lecter. That's what it'll be.
Yeah.
I've come for Vanda with some fava beans. He's gonna see this and whip my ass one day.
I know, but it'd be great, man.
It'd be the greatest story ever.
He's gonna make fun of when he's like, "Did you do the little impression of me about the punch in the face?" Oh crap!
Oh damn! Now Harris does bring, and he is right when you get it is going to cost you an attorney. You are correct there because of the simple fact that they're going to do an investigation. They're not, if they don't show up to your house and there's an axe murderer who's just actively been chopping down your door and probably murdered people along the way, and then you shoot him, there's going to be an investigation. Unless it is plain, obvious self-defense or self-defense.
Even then, something to think about here, Brandon, is he's right about that. He's also doubly right because even if you get cleared of criminal charges, you still may go to a civilian court.
Exactly.
From the family of the asshole that you shot because they were attacking you. Their family may take you to civil court. So he's doubly right on that.
Yeah, which we see a lot right now. And, we went a little tangent last time. We're not going to do that at all this time. But the political side of that is what causes that. And now we're in a very litigious environment where you have to, USCCA is a good idea. It's not a bad idea, and things like that, because you don't know anymore. Look at the dude that we talked about last time. Then we'll talk about again for a hot second. The kid that obviously was trying to shoot the cop in the face and got yeeted for it, and deservedly so. But the thing of it is, what they don't show is there were a crowd of people behind said officer while he was arresting his homie for a triple homicide that he admitted he did. So it's like, and they're martyring this dude. And we've jumped the shark on a lot of this stuff.
Well,
and
you sit here as a civilian, we'll use those words, and you go, damn, this sucks, and not getting the political tangent. And then you just wonder why cops are putting their hats up right now, because they're 10 times worse.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, we have a captain who's a good customer of ours, and we had talked to him last week, and he was like, basically, nothing's illegal in Asheville. He's like, now, it's a free for all. He's like, he's like, city, our hands are tied. And he's like, and because of the jurisdiction, we can't get the county to come and help us, because unless it's a major incident, all they're required to do is the courthouse. That's what they're there, because it's the county courthouse. That's what they protect.
The county seat.
Exactly. So and you don't see a lot of it broadcast because a majority of it isn't local people. A lot of what you're seeing, I would say, in Seattle and other places, they don't live in those places, guys. They sure don't here.
They brought 300 protesters in buses. Yeah. It was like, they brought what now?
So,
buses? Yeah.
Just take all that stuff with a grain of salt, especially poor California. Poor Junior.
At least it's only 90 degrees today. You got that going for you,
right?
This is true. At least it was only 90 degrees in the desert. So you had a nice, cool day. Don't worry, man. It was. I did.
It was balmy.
Yeah, I worked from home today, and I did all my emails and stuff, and got my video area cleaned, as you can see in the background, ready and set up. And then the dumpster finally came about 2:30. And so, of course, my wife was like, so you're just working half the day, right? I'm like, I guess. Because that was the universal sign of, hey, it's time to start loading the dumpster with stuff. So.
I honestly expected to see like a giant picture come to me through text message of that dumpster on fire, and you're going, look, it's a real dumpster fire.
I really, you know what? What's funny
ones we
you
see on the
say
news.
that is I put a bunch of stuff in it already, and I'm like, we could fit more stuff if I burned all this stuff that's in it down. And then apparently I said it out loud because my wife was standing behind me like, no, we're not. No. I was like, oh, come on.
No, knowing your wife, man, I'm surprised she didn't whip out the contract that you signed for and say, it says here, no dumpster fires.
This is true. She, I tell you what, she makes a penny pincher look like a big spender sometimes. But it's good. Don't get me wrong. That ain't a bad trade at all. All right. So what we'll talk about now, we've talked about the training and the mindset and tourniquets. Let's talk about something that I don't think enough people touch on: spare mags and how many you should carry. Revolvers, speed loaders, or speed.
Look at you! Look at that smile.
I know, right? He's like happy.
My expectations for people carrying magazines should be falling out like it's Christmas. Like rule number one: never have enough.
Trick or
treat. You get a 19 mag. You get a 19 mag. You get a 19 mag.
You've been good. Here's a happy stick.
Happy sticks, that's right. Everybody just gets happy sticks all the way around.
So we should qualify that. Since he's in California, those are all 10-round mags falling out of his pockets.
Yeah.
Back to April 1st, 2019, April Fool's Day. For 1 week, we all were allowed our own magazines.
That's right.
True. Yeah. This is true. And
that was the same. That was the same week we sent you guys straws from Galway Precision. Anyway, placed an order. We shipped you a pack of straws.
You did. You're not wrong.
But that also leads into, on top of the spare mags, the Easy 9+1 is done.
Yeah, check that out.
Shipping now.
Ooh. You want to see my
That's
magazine?
one of our trickier ones.
Oh,
That's for Lancer mag.
Look at you. And you're new to say that's right. Junior, for those who forgot or don't know, Junior got a new 3D printer.
Let's put them in a press and see which one breaks first.
Now, what material do you print that out of?
This was carbon fiber.
Okay. All right. So that should be.
It needs a little bit
That's
more.
Cool. I know a guy.
I know a guy. Funny.
All right, spare mags. So you're talking about spare mags and all that fun stuff. I think something. I don't know. Everyone has their own opinion. At least one minimum for a semi-auto. I'm not a revolver guy, so that's somebody else's boat to sail. But we talk to customers all the time and tell them you carry a spare mag, and they're like, "Well, how big a gunfight are you going to get into?" And I'm like, it's not. It's for when the gun stops working. That's something people need to. It goes back to training, and it's not going to go down.
It doesn't go.
Nothing happens. The other thing too that you'll find when you get into like a lot of training, especially force on force, is great to show it. You pull the gun, you're tangled up with someone, you're trying to shoot them in the stomach, so you can shoot them in the mouth, and they regret it. Sometimes that shirt gets sucked into the ejection port. The gun goes down.
Yep.
What are you going to do? Tap, rack, bang. It still don't work because it's packed full of cloth that got stuck on it. You rack the gun with a magazine out, charge it with a mag you know is good. Go back into the fight.
Like the video of the high points, how you reload a high point, just chucks it.
Well, now to quantify that, if you checked a high point at someone's face, there's a more than 50% chance that you're going to kill them. That chunk hits them in the face. It doesn't matter which end either. Because, we all make fun of the polymer somewhat, but the butt of that thing is pretty solid.
Yeah, but you could pick that thing up and start shooting again, though.
Yeah, there is that.
And put nails in the wall to hang pictures of your awards for killing the scumbag.
I guess my answer on magazines is what you can afford to carry on you. I'm not saying like, hey, we're in full carrier and everything, but let's say you're just all you have is your revolver and you're in board shorts and you gotta go into Walmart real quick. I have it happen all the time. Throw it in my pocket, go. I don't have spares. Now, I can also say what happens when I'm in bed, sleeping, somebody breaks in my house. I'm not grabbing that second mag because you're truthfully not thinking about it. Let's be honest. You're grabbing the gun and you're going.
Yeah. But ideally, that would probably be more like a double stack service size pistol. That's probably a higher capacity even for you guys there for that 1 week if you got in on it. And that was mean. That was really mean. I'm sorry. But the point is, it's probably going to be a full size gun that you're not drawing from concealment. So some of the limitations are different. You may not. Hopefully not just got out of the shower, so you're not soaking wet. That sort of thing.
I don't know. That one dude, remember a couple months ago, that dude had his shower revolver.
Yeah.
Little waterproof box, and someone broke into his house and he tattooed him. And they were like, "Oh, wrong house." What?
But here's the thing. I think learning how to mitigate malfunctions is more important than carrying a spare mag, in my opinion.
I would agree, except for the fact that sometimes you're not going to be able to clear the gun with that mag.
This is true too.
So that's one of those things that we've done a bunch of drills several years ago. We spent like a whole day just working out scenarios, and that was one of the things that we kind of came out on the other side of it was single stack, double stack. It doesn't matter. The gun goes down in a struggle, and you have to eject a magazine. You're probably not going to be able to retain that magazine to where you can clearance the weapon, check to make sure it's clear, pick that magazine up off the ground, recharge the gun with it. So you eject that magazine, you get distance, you're clearing the gun, you charge the gun back into the fight. Because that gun, that mag's dead. It's malfunctioned, right? And it may be behind the guy or guys or ladies. Maybe you're cool like that. that's on the other side. You know, that you can't get to it anymore. It's out of play. It's out of bounds.
Yep.
So that's the big reason for like the last decade. I've always carry at least one spare magazine, no matter what you're carrying. That's just my take on it.
I carry 2 spare mags. Doesn't matter what now. Right now I'm carrying the G3C. And it's also, let's be honest, right now in this market, it's dependent upon what you can get your hands on, I would say. We're lucky in that we have a ton of G2C mags, which are the same mags that the G3C uses. I prefer 2 mags just because of, 1, you may lose one. 2, you may have a mag go down. And 3, the simple fact that you may have one whole mag and not even realize could have got something on it, sweat all over it. Yeah, you could have just dud round, one whole dead mag that's useless. Or you may have had to use your mag as a defensive tool while you're trying to get the person off of you. Or you may fumble it. You may just
fumble it, yeah. You fumble that, you struggling to get that thing out under stress and everything like that, and it hits the floor, and you look up, and they're hitting you.
Yeah, exactly.
And that happens. You know, it may not be the the combatant you just got in with. It may be their buddy. It may be their spouse. You never know. They might be. It's their homie. You know. Who knows? The point is, you know, that draws back into the extended gunfight. Every fight is an extended gunfight.
Oh, yeah.
It's not over until the cuffs are on you because the cops are sorting it all out. And they're like, we don't know what happened. We're cuffing you, taking your shit, and you're going to sit in a squad car. That's cool. You guys handle this. I'll wait in the car. You know, it's like,
I'm done now. I'm done.
I'm cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just it. Because I think, too, people don't realize the magazine itself can be used as a defensive tool. If must have, because nothing sucks like getting hit in the face. And people go, "We're going to Glock mag." Well, it's steel lipped reinforced. Not going to be fun when you jab that right in somebody's face. They're not going to be.
I'll tell you what, the weight of a extra 7 rounds of 45 or 9mm, it doesn't matter. That extra mass when you punch them in the balls, trying to get them off of you,
makes a big difference. Makes them real not happy. Yep, that's right. Like the old Mr. Petty used to say.
New York relay. There you go. That's right. I like that. Yeah, good point.
Trying.
Like my grandpa used to say, a fight's never fair because you're never fighting yourself. So grab the biggest object, start fucking swinging.
That's right. Exactly.
Like Matt was saying, man, it's not like chucking the one that's empty and pulling a live one. Oh, it's empty. Chuck it. Bam.
They weren't expecting that.
I think they call that New York relay, though. They call that the double mad dog or something like that. Go out west.
Oh, sorry. I'm just picturing that now, like just an old mob movie. Just, bam! I'm like, oh man.
Like he's like where he's. I can't remember what was the detective in New York that quoted that the New York reload came from. Anyway, he said that the trick is when it goes empty, you throw it. I guess it's like a distraction too. You know? It's like a distraction. You chuck the revolver and pull the other one out. It's like, yeah, surprise.
Man, like now I'm picturing, you know, how we were talking about yesterday, Dastardly Dick or whatever it was in the Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
Surprise. That's right. I like that. That's great.
Oh, man. Yeah. You know, and it all boils down to what you're comfortable with, too, and the scenario. I think no matter whose opinion you follow or what you ascribe to do, it all depends on scenario, where you're going, what you're doing. You know, like I usually carry 2 spare mags everywhere, but if I'm going through Deaverview a whole bunch on the weekend, and this is not anybody who lives over that way, I'm not talking about just the neighborhood. There's specific local. It's pretty much our ghetto. And so if I'm driving through there, I've probably got 1 or 2 extra mags with me, because between there, Pisgah View, and a couple other spots around Asheville, there's a shooting every weekend. And unfortunately, it's the shortest way to Lowe's and the other stuff that I need to get to on the other side of town. So it could turn into a training scenario, which is, who knows? When empty.
Let's talk on this note real quick. And I'm not dogging on your situation here. But
not at all.
It's like the Step Brothers scenario where the kid's trying to make Will Ferrell lick the dog shit. The other brother's trying to go the other way. It's like, just because you carry a gun doesn't mean you get to go through the shortcut. It doesn't mean you get to go the east side of Bakersfield where all the gangbangers are. Just because you got a gun. And I've heard people say, well, I'm getting my CCW so I can go east side. So now you're intentionally putting yourself in front of harm. And I get your situation. You're a little bit different. Your combat,
But it's not even that, dude. It's literally like 30 more minutes out of the way.
I'm hearing excuses right now.
Huh?
I'm hearing excuses right now.
You can hear excuses all you want. I'm lazy, dude. I ain't trying to.
Let me qualify this for him, Eric, and for anybody listening. It's not just that he's like potentially putting himself in a training situation. He is also avoiding Asheville drivers.
Okay.
So that alone, the statistics are probably better. He won't get into a gunfight than getting into a wreck.
This is true. Honestly,
I'm gonna bail him out. I'm gonna bail him out on that one.
Because Lester Highway and Patton Avenue, dude, that intersection alone is one of our top death rate intersections and wreck intersections every single year. You know what the second one is? Number 2 behind it, the fucking first intersection I hit when I hit the Newfound Road Lester Highway intersection.
Also true. He isn't lying on these two.
This is not me exaggerating. Like, dude, there's usually 5-6 times a year I'm sending pictures like, hey, check this out. And it's people flying through it. And that's the serious ones. At least once a week there's a minor one.
The ones that get is like he sends one and it's on its roof. It's like it's flat. How did it roll? There's nothing there. I don't know. They bring a ramp and drive
60 miles an hour from the other side.
On a serious thing though is just, I guess again, be ready to kill somebody conversation. If you carry a gun, but it doesn't mean go be a murderer. Don't go throw yourself into. You get to choose. We all make decisions in life. We all get to choose the situation we end up in for the most part. You go inside your house when it's all dark and you don't turn on the lights. Whose fault is it when a guy walks up behind you with a gun? Could you have prevented that if we turned on the lights? Not saying we walked up behind you, but were we using situational awareness?
Man, biggest thing right there. That is exactly it. Situational awareness and the lack thereof.
I get all the time. I'm like, I'll go let my dogs out at night, because 3 o'clock because my dog's whining. And you've seen my house, Brandon.
Oh yeah,
the whole backside and the little concrete pad. Well, we fenced it off so they're on the other side now. So I got 100 feet to walk in the dark. I'm just in my underwear thinking like it's nothing. You could be a dude just chilling over there ready to swack me. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. And I think along with that comes complacency because you're home. And you're in a routine and you're used to it.
I'm safe. I'm at home.
Exactly.
We have those conversations with customers that they want a holster they can carry all day till they get home. And it's like, why just till you get home? Well, I'm fine at home. And I'm like, well, that's good. But, home invasion's a term. That's an action. And it's not, you don't want to, but you just want people to think. And when they say stuff it's like, just think about it. You want one you can wear all day. How about that? Let's see if we can hook you up with one that'll wear all day.
That'll be comfortable for all day wear. Because, I was talking to one of my buddies earlier today that I went down range with, and he's doing his last year of contracting, and all his bills are done, period, end of story. So he'll be home with his son and everything, and he's excited about it. And we were talking about stuff, and I was telling him, he had bobcats running through his backyard because he lives in Florida, big bobcats too. Well, he's got a 1-year-old, and he's getting ready to buy a new German Shepherd to train for his kid and his wife and whatnot. And I'm like, so when you're done with all this, what are you gonna do? He's like, well, I'll be home. It'll be cool. And I'm like, you know, I know you're not doing super high speed stuff, but dude, shit's fucking insane right now. You gotta remember this.
Life happens. Life
Yeah.
happens. Sometimes it's not your life; it's happening. It's somebody else's.
Exactly. So I'm gonna get him on the right path with some good holsters, because that was his number one thing. Because, you know, most of us that were in too, a lot of us have a hard time keeping stuff on all day because it's what you had to do. You were forced to do it. You didn't have a choice.
That transition period of when you first come home and the first night you're laying in bed, you wake up and your rifle isn't there. Dude, I still will never forget that feeling. I'm like, my rifle's missing.
I'm in so much trouble. Oh wait, no, I'm not. That's not. Oh yeah, no. Because that's you do. You're like, oh
yeah.
All right.
That comes back to like the mindset, though. You've got the mindset on that end of carrying a gun, the mindset of complacency. Are you safe because you're at home? You know, what level do you want to maintain all the time? And that's a hard thing. Is situational awareness. Brandon knows there's a gun shop he used to work at it that had their trainer, and he was standing there talking to these guys that were new to guns, and he was giving them the line of BS that literally, you know, you could pump a whale with. And he was like, I'm in code yellow all the time. I'm aware of everything happening at all times and analyzing everything. I walked up and just touched the back of his gun. Just touched it. And they laughed. They were dying. Yeah. And I'm like, just standing there like a kid, just tapping it. You know, and he's just bragging about how he knows where everybody's at. And I'm like, tap, 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 just turned around and walked off. And they were to pieces. He had no idea why.
No,
I'm not saying all trainers are that way, but I'm just saying if you're going to talk the talk, don't boast it.
Yeah.
Actually, actions speak louder than words. And all I did was tap a gun. You know?
Yeah. And the thing of it is, you'll hear a lot of, you know, color talk. You know, it's not even that. Just be aware of what's going on around you. Around you.
Wabbits. Hell, they took Elmer Fudd's gun around, you know?
Yeah, now they've got him with the scythe, which is just creepy. I'm sorry. That's even
they had
worse.
to get a communist thing in there. The communist.
I guess. I don't know. I was like, dude, that's a terrible idea.
Bugs is gonna get the hammer, and they're gonna clash and make the symbol, you know.
All right. So on that note, everyone, we're actually going to finish on time tonight. So I know, look at us go. Hopefully we can get Chip on another time. But he is the sole trainer, not the sole trainer, but Top Shot Academy is his baby. All right. And they are the sole trainers in Chicago if you want to get serious home defense, self-defense training. If you're law enforcement around there, he's also actually, we can go ahead and pull it up real quick right before. Hey, Lewis. So if Chip would have been on here tonight, but now we get to embarrass him without him being here. So this is Chip Eberhart. This is going to be our guest tonight. So
I'm just saying our goal needs to be by the next episode, we all have photos like these.
I know. This is but like the most ridiculous things ever on it. Like not even real. Like,
how about this? How about we each get to pick one of the other's outfit for the photo, and they have to wear it, that sort of thing.
And then the other put their special abilities for the day.
Yeah, that sounds good.
This is getting terrible. I don't like.
It's going to be. Oh, it's going to be terrible.
Oh, Pepto Man. All right. So
both
you
of you are like, I've got plans for Eric. I'm going to get back at him after all these years.
That's right. So you can find Junior, a.k.a. Eric of Nag Industries, and Joseph, wherever he ran off to. He kept bringing his little beard in every now and again. And Lewis and anybody else of Nag Industries at nagindustries.com. Of course, you can find us, as always, at GallowayPrecision.com. And thank you guys for joining us. We greatly appreciate it. As always, be safe, be accurate, and God bless.